Okay, let's get started. Thank you guys for joining us. We're so excited to talk about what's new with Pingdom so far this year. I just want to get through a couple housekeeping items. Please feel free to ask questions in the Q&A box. We will have time to get to those at the end. Additionally, the session is being recorded and it will be shared afterwards. And we're going to be asking some poll questions throughout, so you will see a little box pop up in your bottom right-hand corner with those. So let's get started. I'm Lee Brown. I am the Product Marketing Manager for Web Application Performance Monitoring Products, Pingdom and WPM. And we also have on the call Katie Cole, and she's our Product Manager for Pingdom and WPM as well. So today we're going to be going through some new things in Pingdom, including a web transaction recorder, cloning capabilities, proactive SSL monitoring, TMS checks management with the API, SAML 2.0 integration, and some security updates as well. So I'm going to be going through those on a high level, and then I will pass this off to Katie, and she will do the demo and actually show you everything that I have just talked about, actually in the product. So the first poll, we just want to kind of see what the people on the call are monitoring. Are you all monitoring mostly synthetics? Are you using real user monitoring, or are you using both? And then our other question is, what are you most interested in hearing about in this webinar specifically? So I'll just give you all a couple of seconds to fill that out. It looks like most people are answering that they're using synthetic monitoring. Okay, some people are using both. And looks like the recorder is pretty popular. I'm going to keep going here while people keep answering. So first, we're super excited to talk about the web transaction recorder for Pingdom. This will allow you to quickly set up transaction monitoring and also do it a lot easier than our check editor. So there's no coding required. You're literally putting in the URL and walking through steps as you would filling out a form, and this allows you to just record those steps and it translates it into a script for you. So not only is that easier, but you can do this a lot faster. We're really excited to have this capability for you guys. Additionally, we have the capability to clone uptime and transaction checks. So this allows you to duplicate a check that you've already set up, and then you can update the alert settings, the frequency, the region. For uptime checks, you can have, maybe you have default settings like a specific region, a specific team that needs to be notified, and you just want to have those settings copied for all of your URLs. So you can totally do that with this duplicating capability if you don't feel like using the API to automate that. Additionally, maybe you want to have a check set up, but you only want a certain group to know because it's in a particular region. So you can copy that check, update the region and the group accordingly if that is required. Additionally, for transaction checks, you can duplicate these checks and change the alert settings, the frequency, and the region, like I said. It's also really great if you have an uptime check set up for a URL and you also want to monitor the SSL certificate. You can just duplicate the check and check that SSL monitoring block, which transitions perfectly to proactive SSL monitoring capability, which we launched earlier this year. So this will allow you to monitor when your SSL certificate is about to expire. You obviously don't want that to expire and your customers to encounter your page with either an error message saying your page is unsecure or not safe to proceed. And so what this check does is let you know before it's going to expire. So you can set, however much time you need to know before it expires. If it's 10 days, if it only need to know the day before, This check allows you to just get alerted so you can take care of renewing that certificate before it impacts your customers. And moving on to managing TMS checks in the API. So we have extended our API support to support CRUD functionality. This will allow automation to be easier and maintaining your TMS checks easier. So you can mass produce and tag these transaction checks. And again, as I said, CRUD functionality, so that's automating the process of creating, deleting, or updating these transaction checks. And we're continuing to enhance our 3.1 version of the API, so please keep your eye out for more updates on that in the future. And last but not least, we have come out with some updates to our security and login functionality. We passed an independent SOC 2 Type 1 audit. You can also visit our security page to see other security standards that we comply with. And additionally, SAML 2.0 integration is now available. So you can have immediate access with no additional login required to our other SolarWinds application management products. And this poll is just for people who maybe don't already have Pingdom and want to learn more. You should see that pop up in your little poll question section. And feel free to answer that now. And I'm going to pass off to Katie, and she is going to show you everything I was talking about actually in the product and how to do these things.
Great, thanks, Lee. All right, let me see if I can share my screen with everyone. All right, so I'm going to start with the recorder. The recorder is a separate utility that you can download and install onto the different machines. So maybe you have other employees that are interested in creating transaction checks, and they really know the flows best. So you can give them access to this recorder, and they can create the recordings and then sync them up with your Pingdom instance. So it's a separate utility. You can download it from our support page. Just type in transaction checks, or from the product UI. I'll show that in a moment, where you can grab that download link and get that installed. So here we are. I've opened the recorder. And I'm going to create a new transaction for you and just kind of show you how this is going to work. So I'm going to go to SolarWinds.com in my recorder. I'm typing in the URL just as I would in a normal browser. So we're just going to wait for it to load. And at SolarWinds, we really have, our website is very important to us. We are really into digital marketing. We want to make sure that our customers are able to get to our website. They can access our tools. They can see demos of our tools. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to start a transaction around one of our product pages. So here we are. I'm on Server and Application Monitor. And from this page, I'm going to start my recording. So from this point on, it's going to capture every step that I take moving forward. So I'm going to download a free trial. That'll be the first step I want my user to take. I'm going to act as if I am one of those users. They must fill out the form to get access to the free trial. All right. And this can be done for any flow that's important for your organization. It could maybe be a login. It could be filling out a form, uploading some items. There's lots of different things that you can do with this transaction recorder. So let me proceed to the free trial. And not only can I have it go through these steps, but I can also have it do some verification. So not only do I want them to fill out that form, but I want to make sure that when they get to this landing page, they land on the right page. So I'm going to do a little bit of text validation. And this check will not pass unless the words "thank you" show up on this final page of the step. Stop that recording. And now I'm going to save to Pingdom. Just up in the upper right-hand corner, save to Pingdom. And what it's doing now, it's just going to go through the same exact steps that I just went through. It's going to check and make sure that all of those items are valid, and then it will save directly to my Pingdom account. So I'm going to go over to my Pingdom account. I'm going to show you what it looks like once it's inside of Pingdom. All right, here we are. My SAM free trial flow. It's showing up in my list of transaction checks. And I can go in and I can see what's been happening over the last 2 weeks. I just changed my process of how often it's checking. So when I did that, it broke some of my steps. So now I can see what's going on there, and I can edit my check from within Pingdom. I can set the region that I want it to pull from. I can set the polling interval from every 5 minutes to every 24 hours. It just depends on your business's need. And I can tell it who to alert, just like I would as a normal Pingdom check. And there we go. That's going to be running in my environment. In order to get the recorder connected to your Pingdom account, you're going to need to create the API that's a read-write. So make sure when you're creating those API tokens that you give it read-write access. So that will be one of your options when you're creating the API token. So moving on, let's talk about the cloning aspect. So Lee had mentioned you're able to now duplicate any of your transaction checks or uptime checks. Let's go into our uptime checks and take a look at where we can find that functionality. So I'm on the main summary page. If I'm interested in creating a clone or a duplicate of this check, and the drop down on the right-hand side, there's this new functionality, duplicate. And it's going to produce the same exact check, but it's going to have the word copy at the end. So as Lee was mentioning, maybe I'm really interested in having this poll from another region. Maybe I want to make sure that this is also available from Asia. So I can change the name of the check, and I can add in, I can change the region. Maybe if there were different team members that I wanted to alert on this, I could select them and update that, and I could create that check. And it's going to show up in my list. Right now, it hasn't run yet, so there are no results. So it's showing up in an unknown status. As soon as it pulls the first result, it'll show up in either my up or down area. And you can do that same functionality with your transaction checks. There is one difference. Because we have this new recorder functionality, you'll only be able to duplicate checks that are created with the script editor, not the recorder. So you can go in here and I can do the same thing. I can duplicate that check, change the region, and there we go. I'm going to skip creating this one. Great. And then let's talk about our SSL monitoring, our proactive SSL monitoring. So we can do that by, let's go into our new duplicated check. Let's add one to this site. All right. So this is an HTTP site. I'm going to change this to HTTPS. That's going to be a requirement to do the proactive SSL. And where you'll find the proactive SSL capability will be under the optional tab when you're setting this up. So we're in optional. We've done an HTTPS website, optional. Scrolling down, we can monitor the SSL or TLS certificate. And now I can say, okay, I want that to alert me 20 days before it expires. And I can modify that check to now alert me when my certificate is about to expire. These proactive SSL monitoring, it's going to alert you in the same capacity as if your site was down. So if you set it to 20 days before, it hits that 20-day before mark, it's going to show you a down alert. It's going to send you an alert just like it would for an uptime check. So because of that, we really recommend having two different checks, one check for your uptime and one check for your SSL, just so that you will, if you have a down alert at the same time that your SSL isn't operating, you'll be able to see that more clearly. So that's our recommendation for doing SSL, proactive SSL monitoring. Wonderful. And then, as Lee mentioned, we also have enhanced our API. So we're talking about our 3.1 API. I'm just showing you for reference. We have a legacy API that looks like this. It's it's different aesthetics. So sometimes when I'm talking to people about which API they're using, I'm saying, is it the one that looks like it has the yellow bar, or is it the clean, clear, white version? Really, it's 3.1 and 2.1, and 3.1 has, beyond the capabilities it already had with uptime checks and doing CRUD functionality and all of the operations that you could do with uptime checks, we've additionally added CRUD functionality for TMS checks. If you scroll down to the bottom of the list, here we are, we have alert settings, and then we have transaction checks. So at the bottom, transaction checks, and here are all the different operations that we can perform with our TMS checks. You can pull back the lists. If you want, you can get the single transaction check performance report. So now you can pull that data into other visualizations, other tools. So if you are interested in that, this is all publicly available. You can access it from our website here under Resources and Pingdom API. That will give you the link to our 3.1 API. And as we mentioned there as well, we are continuing to make improvements to our 3.1 API. So if you're interested in additional functionality, don't be afraid to reach out and talk to us. It is something that we're actively working on. Great. And one of the other items, so Lee was talking about security. So from a security perspective, we did pass our SOC 2 Type 1, and we're in the process of getting our SOC 2 Type 2 certification. And we also released SAML. So for those of you that are interested in doing some SAML integrations, we can come in here on our security section. So integrations and security. Going to pop us out to a new page, and this is where we can put in our identity provider information and do all of this single. This really gives us the opportunity to log in and out users from a single space for all of our AppMan products: Loggly, Pingdom, Papertrail, and AppOptics. So this is just a really great place to centrally manage all of the SolarWinds cloud products. Great. And with that, I'm going to take us back to the presentation and open it up for Q&A. It looks like we already have some questions coming in. Let me just expand them so I can actually see. So the first question I see here is about load testing. So that's not really what it's not a primary use case. It's not what Pingdom was built for, but I have had people attempt to do load testing with Pingdom. So it's something some users do, but it's really not the primary use case for Pingdom. And I have another person asking about the web transaction recorder and if it costs extra. So no, the web transaction recorder does not cost extra. It's included with your subscription. So you can download that transaction recorder from the support page. And you can have however many copies of it, you can have however many people using it, but it is going to go against your entitlements for advanced checks. So every transaction that's created via the web recorder and then saved to Pingdom will just count against your advanced checks. So if you have 10 advanced checks and you're already using 10 of them, and then you try to save a recording from the recorder, it will not allow that to be saved because it will hit your entitlement wall there. So it doesn't cost extra, just whatever your entitlements are for advanced checks. Lee, do you have any other questions?
There's one, can we still use the legacy API?
So yes, the legacy API, the 2.1 API is going to be available throughout the rest of this year, but we are in the process of deprecating that API. So I would highly recommend if you're using 2.1 to start transitioning over to the 3.1 API. And as I mentioned before, we're going to be continuing to enhance those capabilities. So you're going to be getting even more functionality from 3.1 than you could have gotten from 2.1. And I see we have some more coming in the chat. Does the SSL monitoring also look into the quality of their certificate or only its expiration date? It only looks at the expiration date at the moment. I am very curious about I've seen some requests on our THWAC forum asking about getting some deeper insight into your SSL. So I want to quickly share my screen again because I should have gone over this and I didn't. For those of you that aren't familiar, we have THWAC. THWAC is our online community. Sorry, I'm trying to get to the tab, but WebEx keeps trying to thwart my efforts. So this is the product forum for THWAC. Again, THWAC is our user community. You can visit any of the product pages. You don't have to be an existing customer to visit any of them. Pingdom is under our application management. That's the page that I'm currently on. This is a great area to ask questions so that your peers can help answer those questions. I monitor this forum as well. So if you have any questions for me or any ideas, we have the product roadmap. So if you're interested in seeing what we're working on, you can go to the product roadmap. I keep that updated as well. And we have a feature request area. So you can add in features that you're interested in seeing, or you can upvote for other features that have already been created. So that's just an excellent resource. It's something, again, that I am actively monitoring. So it's a great place to share ideas and get help from your peers. All right, Lee, what other questions do we have?
I am not seeing any more. I think we might be able to wrap up really early.
Perfect. All right, well then let's move on. I know that we have an announcement. Lee, if you want to give the announcement here.
Yes, so as Katie was saying with her THWAC, showing you all the THWAC forum, we have THWAC Camp coming up November 12th through 13th. So registration begins September 1st and it's free. It's our annual event. It's really exciting and fun. We've got a lot of cool stuff to show you all, and there's also some funny kind of skits. So it's really just a good time for everyone, but it's a 2-day virtual IT learning event and our Knowledge Fest. So yeah, you can start to register September 1st, and we will definitely be emailing you all about it eventually, but just wanted to get this kind of on your calendar. It's November 12th and 13th. So we'd love to have you all there.
Yeah, and last thing before we sign off, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to see what's come out with Pingdom, but Pingdom is an ever-evolving product. If you didn't see something on this presentation that you were hoping to see, again, you can comment on the THWAC forum, you can email us. We're always looking to make improvements. We want to make sure that this product is solving the use cases that you're looking to solve. So please don't be afraid to reach out and give us your feedback. We want to hear from you. We can't make the product better without your help and input. So just wanted to do a plug. If anybody has feedback, it is welcome.
Awesome. Thank you guys for coming, and we'll be sending out the recording after this.